Hello, everybody, and welcome to Grim Scenarios, episode 12. I'm your host, Milk.
Sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
I was just impressed we've gotten to a dozen episodes. That's your host, Milk. And I'm your rude co-host, Emma, who interrupted him.
We haven't killed each other in 12 episodes, Emma. It's amazing.
I know.
And we've managed to get together every Wednesday for 3 months, approximately.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Including the ones where we were traveling.
That's right. Even the ones where we were driving in our cars while we were recording this podcast live. We're probably gonna have to come up with another gag at some point. But since we always record this live, yeah,
we'll abandon this one soon. Not too soon.
Yeah, we can abandon it and then bring it back later in the future.
Anyway, as you know, a few weeks ago we did a giveaway of a ticket to Magicians, Gamblers, and Drunks, where we asked people to send in scripts they wanted us to cover, and the like. We decided we would go through and cover all the scripts and character combos people wanted us to do, and we got multiple requests for us to cover Laissez, Faire, which is, I believe, a French pun.
Yes, probably. French, a language I definitely speak. Bonjour.
Laissez and Faire has sort of a strong reputation because it's a Teensyville script that's written by the game creator Steve Medway. It was how several characters, including Leviathan, Widow, Goblin, Fisherman, and Balloonist, were first released to the public. I think Amnesiac was released separately, if I remember correctly. Cannibal may also be a Luff character. And since in a lot of it can be hard, to gather 8, 9, 15, 20 of your friends to play a game of Blood of the Clocktower, it's much easier to gather 5 or 6. So a lot of people in their home plays play Teensyvilles. Milk and I don't really play Teensyvilles.
Well, I mean, we have played Teensyvilles, but it's not our regular fare.
Yeah, in the online community, Teensyvilles are less common because, it's much easier to gather 12 people online than it is in person. But, we did want to cover it. So, over a week ago, on a Monday, we went on TPI's Teensyville stream and played our first ever games of Laissez and Faire.
That's right.
And now we're going to cover it.
It was a good bit of fun, actually.
Yeah. One of the characters we asked to cover is the Amnesiac, so we're going to do an Amnesiac scenario first. Mm-hmm. But before we get to that, Milk, I think we have to do our shameless shilling for the week.
We definitely have to do some shameless plugs for this week, Emma, because as you know, you and I are going to be at Magicians, Gamblers, and Drunks, a Las Vegas Clocktower con, from the 27th to the 29th of October, although we will be there a day early and I will be there a day late.
Yep, me too. You can buy badges at vegasclocktowercon.com. It should be a ton of fun. We'll be there. We'll be doing the first ever live show of Grim Scenarios.
It's going to be fun.
A number of other Clocktower personalities will be there, including Ben Burns, Steve Medway, Ed Gabriel.
Mm-hmm. And our particular panel, our live Grim Scenarios recording, is already getting planned as we speak. I have prepared. My preparations have begun, Emma.
My preparations have not begun, but we have discussed what characters we might want to cover live.
Oh yes,
Vegas.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys come and sign up for the Grim Scenarios panel if you're coming to Magicians, Gamblers, and Drunks.
Yeah, and maybe you can't make it to Vegas. Maybe it's too far away. Maybe October's not the right time for you. Maybe you live in Europe.
Maybe you need an adapter.
Maybe the Clocktower Con convention for you is Ravenswood Stock in February of 2024. From the 16th to 18th of February, you can not buy badges, but you can get on the waiting list at ravenwoodstock.com. That's a cultural appropriation pun, because it's the British Clocktower Convention, but they're making a reference to an American cultural event. So shame on the British. But we love them anyway. Anyway, I'll be there. I know that. I don't know if Milk will be there.
Possibilities are increasing of my potential attendance, but it's still somewhat questionable. It's a little far out for me to make that judgment yet.
Yeah, that's being hosted by some people you may know, like Patters from Patters TTV,
Pattern!
Ed from the Pandemonia Institute,
Ed!
and some less well-known people, but still wonderful people like, I believe, Roxy, Ollie, Claire, and Tom.
Roxy, Ollie, Claire, and Tom, who are our friends.
Yeah. But maybe you don't trust these newer conventions going for their first go. Maybe you want something that's been tired, true, done before. We know it'll be a smashing success.
It's been around
because
forever.
It's the whole second run of this convention. That's right, Clocktower Con, the original, the one and only, the one in what I've been told is McLean, Virginia, not McLean, but I still will be saying McLean most of the time.
We all call it McLean, don't worry.
Which is right outside of the District of Columbia. That's the capital of the United States, for those of you who don't know.
Are from other places.
That'll be April 14th to 16th, and tickets are going incredibly quickly.
Yeah, they're running low on badges now.
They had approximately 600 full weekend badges for sale. There's about 100 of those left. They had about 35 daily badges available each day. I think Saturday is sold out or close to sold out. You can still get badges for Friday or Sunday, but...
And I think there's still a few full weekend passes left.
There's still like 100 full weekend passes. So you should go buy your tickets now. Don't get caught waiting. The hotel block was opening for special people like me and Milk recently. We opening for the rest of you all in about a week and a half.
Yeah, I think August 19th, I think it opens up for everyone else.
Yeah. So you want to get your tickets, you want to get your hotel rooms, you want to get your plane fare set up, you want to budget for it, because it's going to be a blast. I went last year, was the first ever tabletop gaming convention I ever went to. It completely changed my mind on in-person Clocktower, which I thought, why would I bother doing that to? This is the best thing ever, I need to do it as much as possible. It completely changed my mind on tabletop gaming conventions. After that, I went to Origins in Columbus, Ohio. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to a local Phoenix convention in a few weeks. I'll be going to England. I'll be going back to Washington, D.C. Just meeting and playing games with people is super fun. So come play games with us at Las Vegas, Coventry, or McLean, Virginia.
Washington, D.C.
Sorry, I'm going to say it right. I'm going to say it the way I want to say it. I don't care if it's right or not.
Yeah. And when you come to those places, and you see us, come say hi. Come talk to us. Well, come talk to me. Don't Emma doesn't like
I'm a little more weirded out by the whole like micro celebrity thing. So
well, I don't care about the micro celebrity thing. Just come say hi. I'm a friendly guy.
You can come say hi. Like if you really need us to sign something, I will.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Just come say hi. That's the important part.
Come say hi. Play a game.
We want to know that you like Grim Scenarios.
Yeah, tell us about Grim Scenarios, your favorite Blood on the Clocktower podcast.
That's right. Your favorite of the 3 Blood on the Clocktower podcasts. It's us.
All right, and with that, let's talk a little bit about Laissez and Faire.
Yeah, Teensyvilles are a little bit different, right, Emma? They're not the same as just playing a regular, full-size game of Blood on the Clocktower. There are a couple of changes to what we usually expect in the sort of setup part of the script. The first part is with either 5 players or 6 players, you can run a Teensyville. The counts of minions, demons, townsfolk, and outsiders in Teensyville games are, in a 5-player game, which we're not going to demonstrate today, you have 3 townsfolk, 1 demon, and 1 minion, excuse me.
And 1 demon. Don't forget the demon.
Yes, the demon, yes. In a 6-player game, you have 3 townsfolk, 1 demon, 1 minion, and also 1 outsider. So these games are pretty straightforward to set up, and you have a pretty straightforward batch of rolls. The second thing that's substantially different is that the evil team members do not know each other. The demon is not told who the minion is, and the minion is not told who the demon is. So much of the time, the evil team members will not know who they're working with. And the demon does not get bluffs. And this makes it really tricky for the evil team in a lot of situations, because it's likely that evil players will be double claiming other players given the low number of rolls on the script that are available for them to claim.
Yeah, well, a normal script will have 13 townsfolk and 4 outsiders for 17 good rolls. Teensyville comes with 6 townsfolk and 2 outsiders, and half those townsfolk will always be in play.
And potentially one of the outsiders.
Yep. But most Teensyville scripts are designed that to a little bit of a degree that the demon can get some intuition about what might be out of play and work from there. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Now, this is also a Leviathan Teensyville, which means that it normally goes for the full 5 days, and executions are a little rarer.
It's rare that towns will execute... in a Leviathan script, it's rare that towns are going to execute more than one player in the first 4 days. Usually, towns will try to push as far as they can to get as much information as they can. Now, that said, the only role here that really cares about that is the Savant. And so a town that doesn't have a Savant might not worry about pushing to that final day. A balloonist gets all 4 days of their information already before the final day. Fishermen, artists, they probably will use their abilities earlier. Amnesiac might want an extra day to solve their ability, but in general, in terms of hard information, or as hard as information gets on this script, Savant's pretty much the one that wants the full 5 days.
Yeah, and the other thing with Teensyvilles is that it's either 4 good versus 2 evils, or 3 good versus 2 evils, and either way, that means one good player who votes wrong loses the game for their team.
Yeah.
Regardless of anything else, if you get, even if the majority of town is aligned on who the demon is, one misvote from a townsfolk will lose the game.
Yeah, and that's a big deal, right? Another piece of this that's kind of interesting, especially on this script, is that the minions are Widow and Goblin. Now, Emma and I haven't covered Widow in the past, but I know that an opinion that the two of us share is that in general, the Widow should use their poisoning ability on a townsfolk to try to affect townsfolk information rolls, and it doesn't really matter if the town knows that there's a Widow in play. In fact, that can even be beneficial to the evil team that the town knows there's a Widow in play because people might play face up. That said, on this script in particular, it somewhat benefits the Widow to self-poison because it leaves the possibility of a goblin in play. If you hear a Widow's call on this script, you no longer have to worry about there being a goblin in play, and it also means that the demon cannot claim goblin, which is, I think, a pretty reasonable tactic for a demon on this script.
Anyway, I think that's probably enough of sort of a lead-in about the script. Look, let's get to the Grim.
Let's go to the Grim. All right, as we already mentioned, you're the Amnesiac, and you're seated in seat 2. And we're gonna go ahead and just skip a bit forward, because sitting through 5 days of you basically not being able to do a whole lot about Leviathan is not going to be that useful, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with you on your Amnesiac ability a little bit and provide you some information that happens on each day. On the first night, you are woken by the storyteller, and you are told to please select a player.
Am I picking the player?
You are selecting a player, yes. So let's talk about what the Amnesiac does and what kinds of abilities you might get.
So the Amnesiac token reads, you do not know what your ability is. Each day, privately guess what it is. You learn how accurate you are. So the Amnesiac can be whatever the creativity of your storyteller allows. Now, here's the general guide to running an Amnesiac. Because the Amnesiac may not be to make use of their information because they may not figure out what you're going for, it should be more powerful than a normal ability. That said, if anyone's ever played any sort of rule-guessing game, it's really hard to guess rules when you don't know what they are. So you should try to make it relatively... Even a simple rule is hard to guess, so you should try to make the ability relatively simple. A little more powerful, not super complicated. You can get real wacky with Amnesiacs, but the general guideline is a little more powerful than normal. Not that, but not much more complicated than normal. don't have the amnesiac need to, like, once per game declare that they are going to pick 6 players and guess each of their rolls, and if they get them all right, the demon dies. That's probably both too powerful and too complicated. The amnesiac's not going to figure that they have to do that, and it's not going to be fun for the evil team if the amnesiac somehow does that correctly.
That does seem strong.
So, like any picking roll, other than, like, so, like, there's a few picking rolls and a few script combos that I will make a particular pick day one. If I'm a fortune teller in the marionette script, I'm always going to pick my neighbors day one. Mm-hmm. But amnesiac is sort of, who cares? So I'm just going to go and pick my favorite number, which is seat number 4.
Okay, you pick seat number 4, and you learn a 2.
I'm just writing that down in my grim.
And then the storyteller, I'm going to go ahead and add it to my grim here as well, because that way the audience at home, they know what information you've gotten from your amnesiac ability. So, yep, you pick seat 4 and learn a 2, and the storyteller puts you back to sleep.
Okay.
That day, you wake up, and you kind of go through the day. You have a couple of chats with a couple of people, but again, in these games of Leviathan games, in these sort of smaller games, a lot of times people are pretty open about what they're claiming, or they offer you 2s. So rather than kind of go through and offer you 2s from a bunch of different players, or offer you kind of claims from a bunch of different players, what I'm going to tell you is that on day 1, during the nomination phase, the player in seat 4 claims to be the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Claims to have used their ability and asked a question.
Do they share their question?
They do. They say that they asked the storyteller if the demon is in seats 1, 6, or 5, and they learned a yes. They ask if there is a cannibal in play, to which no one speaks up. No one nominates unless you wish to nominate.
Nope, no, I won't nominate. But I do want to ask Milk an amnesia question.
Yeah, and you do get your storyteller consult. So I just wanted to cover all that before you do your consult.
Yeah. So the storyteller consult is an important part of the amnesiac ability, because the storyteller, you're going to go and you can make an exact guess, or you can ask a general question about your ability. It doesn't matter which, and the storyteller tells you something on a temperature scale from cold to hot, unless it's bingo.
Yep, bingo means you got it exactly right, or very close enough that the wording doesn't matter for the storyteller.
Yeah, that the storyteller is then going to say, bingo, you got it right, your ability is blah. Yep. So I'm going to ask, a little bit based off that artist question, but also based off how I guessed, whether my ability has something to do with the distance a character is from the player I picked.
So can you just ask the question one more time?
Is my ability have something to do with the distance of a character from the player I picked?
I would say that's warm.
Thought it might be.
Yep. All right. And that's all you get from the storyteller on that day. And the day ends. No one nominates. No one's executed. This is very normal in a Leviathan game. Everybody goes to sleep. You all wake up. And on day 2, you are going to have a couple of conversations.
Well, do I pick again in the night?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes, so you do pick again in the night. So on night 2, you're woken in the night to pick.
I will pick seat 6.
You select seat 6. I'm going to give you a 1.
Okay.
With your amnesiac ability.
Okay.
In the day following, you talk to 2 players, the player in seat 1 and the player in seat 6. And both of them are claiming to be the fisherman who is holding their ability until the 3rd day.
Okay.
So you've got 2 fishermen, one in seat 1 and one in seat 6. No other players seem ready to reveal their information, but you notice that the players in Seat 5 and Seat 3 both go and have storyteller consults during the day.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. But you also get to have a storyteller consult on the day 2 of a Leviathan game.
I will ask whether my ability detects steps to an evil player.
Bingo.
Perfect.
So, Emma has determined that her ability, the text of your ability, is each night select a player. Hot, actually. It's not quite bingo. It's hot.
Not quite bingo, it's hot.
It's hot. Apologies. It's hot.
That's fine. I have 3 more days to turn that hot into a bingo.
3 more days to turn that hot into a bingo. Yeah, sorry, that I shouldn't have said bingo. That's very close, but it is hot. Yeah. Anyway, that day, the player in Seat 4 during nominations says, I've heard of a double claim. Have you been claiming amnesiac? Is a question I need to ask you.
Yeah, I am the amnesiac.
Yeah. In that case, the player in Seat 4 says, there is a double claim of amnesiac on the Grim. The players in Seat 2, Emma, and the player in Seat 3 are both claiming amnesiac.
Interesting. I was expecting it to be Seat 5.
And the player in Seat 3 says, no, I'm the amnesiac. I have an amnesiac ability. I've been visiting the storyteller every day for my storyteller consults.
So you're not the amnesiac, but you may just be the mutant, so we'll leave it be for now.
All right. They might just be the mutant. You're going to leave it be for now. Do you want to nominate on day 2? Again, nobody else in town seems particularly inclined to do any nominating.
I'll nominate Seat 6.
All right. You nominate Seat 6. Emma, why are we nominating Seat 6 today?
Yeah, I say, I don't know if we should vote on this. I asked, my ability, each night I pick a player, I get a number. I've asked, does it have to do with steps on the Grim from the player I pick to a particular character type? I got a warm. I asked, does it detect steps on the Grim from a player I pick to the nearest evil? And I got a hot. The first night I picked Seat 4 and got a 2. The second night I picked Seat 6 and got a 1. Seat 6 is in a double claim. I think in most of my world, Seat 6 is probably just evil.
Okay. Seat 6, their defense is, I'm just a fisherman. I know the player in Seat 1 is also claiming fisherman, but I am definitely the fisherman. If we want to kill me today, that's fine, but I'm just a fisherman. I'm a townsfolk, and I haven't used my ability yet, so if you do put me on the block, I will go and use my ability. Are you going to vote on this?
Yeah, I'll vote on it.
Okay. You, 3, and 4, and 5 all vote on this nomination. Puts 4 votes on the player in Seat 6. Player in Seat 6 goes and gets their fisherman information before they're executed and die, and everybody goes to sleep.
Interesting.
That night, the storyteller visits you again.
I'll pick Seat 5.
You pick Seat 5, and you learn a 1. All right. The following day, you wake up. Everybody gets up, and the player in Seat 6 says, "I got my fisherman advice yesterday. My fisherman advice is that some spiders kill silently." The player in Seat 1 goes for a storyteller consult, and when they return, they say, I got my fisherman advice today because I am the fisherman, and my fisherman advice was mutations can cause memory loss.
I ask how many living players between them and the demon?
Colder.
Colder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get amnesiac responses from the storyteller, some storytellers, myself included, might give you some relative information by saying colder or warmer, but not giving you sort of a specific place in the scale. Some storytellers will give you a very precise scale and just give you colds and warms. Or hots.
Okay. So that's colder, so it's not the living players. I'm just trying to figure out what it means. 2, 1, 1. I mean, it still works if 1 and 6 are evil together, and the 2 is 6 to 4, and the 1 is both 6 to 1 and 5 to 6, but...
Something feels off.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, maybe you can figure it out.
Yeah, I have 2 more days.
Yeah, you got 2 more days. No problem. On this day, the player in seat 5, before the end of nominations, says, hey, I wanted everybody to know that I am the Savant, and I wanted to give out my first 3 days of Savant information, because I think they might be helpful to solving this game. So, day 1, my Savant information is, a sober chef would get a 1, or there is no widow. On day 2, I got the evils are directly opposite each other on the Grim, or there is no cannibal.
No one's claiming cannibal.
On day 3, I got all once per game abilities have been used, or the lunatic is seated next to the amnesiac.
Okay.
And that's all the information I have as a Savant, because I have only gotten 3 days of Savant information, so that's all of it.
Alright. I don't really feel the need to execute today.
Nobody else seems inclined. Everybody's a little bit concerned that the player in seat 6 was good. Somebody says maybe we should kill the player in seat 1 because, let's say the player in seat 5 says maybe we should kill the player in seat 1 since they're in a hard double claim with the player in seat 6, because probably one of them is evil.
There's no cannibal in play. Right? So no one's claiming cannibal.
Correct.
And one of the days of Savant information is either there is no cannibal in play, or is it there is no cannibal in play, or there is a cannibal in play?
The evils are directly opposite each other on the Grim, or there is no cannibal.
Okay. So there's no cannibal, then, which means the evils aren't directly opposite each other, which means you can rule out the evil teams of 3-6 and 1-4. We can't rule out the evil team of 3-4 with 1 being the mutant, but I don't think that makes sense with the amnesiac numbers and questions I've got. My guess is seat 1's probably the demon, but I don't think it's worth pushing on today.
Alright, that seems good. You don't push on seat 1, and everybody goes to sleep, going into night 4. And then into day 4. So in night 4, the storyteller comes and visits you, Emma, and says, please select a player.
I pick seat 3.
You pick seat 3, you get a 1.
That's not what I was expecting. I was expecting a 2.
You wake up the following day, and nobody seems to really want to go for private chats at this point. Everybody's kind of hanging around the town square. The player in seat 3 says, hey, I really haven't gotten any traction with my amnesiac ability. I didn't wake up the first night, but I did wake up the second night. On the second night, I picked the player in seat 4, and I got a no. On the third night, I picked the player in seat 5, and I got a no. And last night, I picked the player in seat 1, and I got a no. And I've asked if I detect players that wake in the night. I've asked if I detect the demon. I've asked if I detect a minion. And I've gotten a cold on everything.
Okay, that's fine, because you're not the amnesiac.
I am the amnesiac. Is there anyone you'd like to nominate today, Emma?
Well, first I want to ask my question. So I need to solve because my ability seems like it's probably game solving if I can just lock it down.
And you've got a pretty good chunk of it already.
Yeah. It's hot if it's evil players. Steps to evil players. I'm going to ask you if it's steps to someone with a demon token.
I'm going to say colder.
Colder. Mm-hmm. So steps to evil players is still as hot as it gets.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, I made a mistake and told you it was a bingo, so it must be very close to that.
I'd like the savant information for day 4.
Oh, sure. The savant information, day 4. Day 4 savant information is 2 statements, one of which is true and one of which is false. The goblin is seated next to an outsider, or the demon is in an even-numbered seat.
We don't have a balloonist claim, so we don't have 2 outsiders.
Mm-hmm.
So the goblin, if it exists, the mutant has to be between seats 1 and seat 3.
Okay.
The mutant or lunatic.
Okay.
So seat 6 didn't claim goblin. Doesn't mean they're not the goblin. Seat 4 is possibly evil. I'm skeptical they wanted to be fed to a cannibal. What was the other statement?
The other savant statement was the goblin seated next to an outsider, or the demon is in an even-numbered seat.
No, the demon's in an even-numbered seat. It's just seat 4. I think it's worth nominating seat 4 to see if they claim goblin.
You nominate the player in seat 4, and what's your accusation? I mean, it's just the information that you have.
Just curious.
The player in seat 4 claims to be the goblin.
Okay.
They say, I'm a good player, I don't want to be executed because I think the player in seat 6 was good, but I'm going to claim goblin so I don't get executed.
Interesting.
Do you vote on this?
No.
Okay. So that goes around. The player in seat 5 nominates the player in seat 1. The accusation is, I think there's probably an evil between 1 and 6. I think we should clear the world where seat 1 is the demon. They're both still hard-claiming fishermen. One of them has to be evil. Or maybe the mutant, I guess, but probably just one of them's evil.
And seat 1 is specifically saying their fisherman advice is seat 3 is the mutant.
Correct. Seat 1 says, I'm the fisherman, I'm not the mutant, I'm the mutant, I'm the mutant, I'm the mutant, I'm not the mutant, I'm just the fisherman. We shouldn't execute me because I'm good, but I understand if town needs to clear this world.
I'll vote on this.
Seat 5 and seat 3 are going to vote on it.
I'll vote on it with them. I think this is fine. I think seat 6 is evil, and seat 1.
You 3 and 5 all vote on this. Seat 1 goes on the block, seat 1 is executed and dies, and everybody goes to sleep.
That's what I figured.
Yep. So that might help you a little bit with your things. You're woken in the night and asked to select a player.
I'll select myself.
You select yourself, you get a 2.
Okay.
All right. You wake up the following day, and everyone reiterates their information. So I'm just going to go through all the information for you one more time, so that you get to hear all of it. On day 1, the artist in seat 4 used their artist ability to ask the question, is the demon in seats 1, 6, or 5? And the answer was yes. The player in seat 1 is claiming fisherman, who on day 3 used their ability to ask the question, or to get the advice, mutations can cause memory loss.
Yeah.
The player in seat 6 is also claiming fisherman, and on day 2, they received the advice, some spiders kill silently.
So the one question I'm trying to figure out is why I had a 1 when I picked seat 6.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything else just points to seat 4 being the demon.
Okay.
But that 1 is weird. Why is the 1 there? Seat 1 is still claiming fit. Yeah, they're... Yeah.
1 and 6 are both hard-claiming fishermen. 2 and 3, 2 is you, of course, are both hard-claiming amnesiac. Player in seat 3 says, I didn't get anything on my amnesiac ability. I've got another cold. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't really know what's going on. I picked myself. Yeah, I gotta know.
Mutant. No one cares.
I'm just gonna go ahead and put this player as the mutant, since you think that they're the mutant. Help everybody out a little.
All right.
The player in seat 5 offers their day 5 advice after going and getting a storyteller consult, which is, no townsfolk are seated next to each other, or there is an amnesiac in play.
Yeah, I knew that. So, the townsfolk are me, seat 1, and seat 5. Seat 4 is the demon. I'm, locked in on seat 4 being the demon. I will lose in Worlds of seat 4 is not the demon. But I'd like to solve my amnesiac ability to confirm that.
Okay, well, the storyteller is available for consult. What's your question today?
What have I asked so far? I've asked...
You would have to keep track of that, not me.
Yeah, steps to the nearest character type. Steps to the nearest evil player. Living players between them and the nearest evil player. Steps to the nearest player with a demon token. I was curious about a lunatic. Possibly in seat 1.
That tracks.
I don't understand the numbers on Knights 4 and Knight 6.
Alright. Players 4 and 6.
3 and 6. Every other number makes sense to me. Yeah, I don't know. Is it steps to the demon?
I'll say again, hot, but not 100% bingo.
Alright.
Seat 5 is going to nominate seat 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote on seat 4. I can't see how this
You, seat 3 and seat 5 all vote on seat 4. Seat 4 is executed and dies. And, of course, congratulations go to the good team, who have won, because the player in seat 4 was the Leviathan, and the player in seat 6 was the Goblin. Your amnesiac ability, Emma, you had it all except for one tiny little clause, which was each night select a player. Learn how many seats they are from the nearest evil player. If you select an evil player, you learn an arbitrary number.
So the 2 on seat 4 was arbitrary because it pointed me towards the Goblin.
2 on seat 4 is arbitrary, and the 1 on seat 6 is arbitrary. Yep. But every other place you pick and every other place you get a number, of course, it tells you that seat 4 or seat 6 is the demon. It actually was a really funny thing, because if you pick any of the good players, you get pointed to both evils, which is quite a lot of fun, more or less. You obviously 1 and 3, but yeah. Anyway, so that's a little bit of how a small amnesiac ability can work. It is very difficult to build savant statements and an amnesiac ability that is not overpowered in a game of this size. It is really, really tricky. It took me a long time to do the savant statements for this. And I think they're probably still quite strong. Fisherman Advice is a little bit easier, and obviously an artist question wasn't in use here. But it's a pretty tricky thing, I think, to put together the information. You'll notice, as we've kind of gone through this, all of the information that you get in Laissez and Faire is more or less at storyteller's discretion. So that makes it pretty hard.
All right. Anyway.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a little break, and we'll swap out and do the next thing. Let me I'll clear out the Grim here, and we can go to the Thingamabob where they can still hear us talking about all the conventions we're going to go to.
Yeah. We'll just run through the conventions again. So, of course, October 27th to 29th, Las Vegas Clocktower Convention. Buy your tickets at vegasclocktowercon.com. Sorry about Artemis.
Kim has a picture. Don't worry. She can get a picture there for everybody.
Yeah, and then of course, Raven Woodstock. Get on the waiting list at ravenwoodstock.com. And that's in February 16th, 18th, Coventry, United Kingdom, and of course, Clocktower Con. April 14th to 16th, or 12th to 14th, one of those two, in McLean, Virginia. I'm doing terrible today.
It's fine. Don't worry. Well, Kim's gonna fix it. We'll just edit it all in post. We do have fun, everybody. We do have fun.
We do have fun. I got distracted because Artemis went a little silly.
Yeah, that's okay. Dogs are very distracting, but also amazing. Welcome back, everybody, and now it's my turn to see what I can do with the Teensyville Laissez and Faire. Emma, take it away.
Yeah. So you are playing Evil this week, which means our request was that we cover playing Laissez and Faire as the Leviathan. So Milk, you're the Leviathan. one of the last characters you ever drew for the first time, if I remember correctly.
It is. It is. There's less than. I think there's less than a half dozen characters I haven't drawn now. Obviously, every time they add a new character, it goes up. But actually, I've already been the Harpy, and I've had the Knight and the Steward already. So actually, I'm pretty well balanced. But Leviathan is one of the.
Hey, and you've been the Vizier, so
I've been the Vizier.
Really just missing Organ Grinder.
Yeah, Organ Grinder. So anyway, Leviathan is one of the tokens I had waited a really long time to pull, and I pulled it in an off-stream game on ECG one night, and I had an absolute blast playing as Leviathan. Hello, Sethington. By the way, sorry about that. Anyway. So yeah, Leviathan is a really interesting demon. It completely changes how a game of Clocktower is played, because it's doesn't kill. It doesn't kill in the night. It just has to live for 5 days, and if you do that, you win.
All right. Well, you have the Leviathan token. Let's see if you can win this game, Milk.
We'll see. Let's go to the Grim.
Secretly, he's the lunatic. All right. So, as Leviathan, you can either be woken up or not woken up in a game of Laissez and Faire. And if you're woken up, it's only to tell you one thing, that you have a lunatic.
That's right.
You are not woken up.
Okay, so that means there's no lunatic in play. That's good information that I should probably make a note of.
So what does it tell you when you learn that there's no lunatic in play as a Leviathan in Laissez and Faire?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of information encoded in this, right? So if there's no lunatic on a 6-player game of Laissez and Faire, that means there's a mutant and there's no balloonist, which means
you get a free bluff.
Balloonist is a free bluff if you want it. Now the thing is, now that we've done this episode, everyone knows this, which means everyone knows that if there's no lunatic, the balloonist might be the demon. So you have to be careful about taking this balloonist bluff as a freebie. What else can you do as the Leviathan? Like, everybody's going to come out on the first day and want to do hard claims, right? That's what's going to happen. Everybody's going to want to just say, look, let's just all hard claim to each other, right? So what can you do as the Leviathan? How are you protected, at least for a day or two, in this world? Well, the first thing is you could just go all in, like the Leviathan in our first scenario did, claim a once per game roll, say, is there a cannibal, and hope there's not one. Because you're probably going to get killed if there is. That's not a recommended strategy. You might want to look like a minion. Looking like a minion, especially looking like a goblin if there's no Widow's Call, is very powerful. You might also be able to make yourself look like the mutant for a period of time if you're double claiming someone. There are very, very few reasons why anyone would claim anything other than their actual role on this script, but that's about what covers it. Not the demon, but a minion. Possibly the mutant, right? And that's about it.
Alright, well, you wake up on day 1, Milk, and the first thing you hear is Seat 5 says, this is a Widow game. I got the Widow's Call.
Alright. Well, if it's a Widow game, I'm going to wait for a Widow to approach me, not go looking for a Widow.
Alright,
because the Widow knows the Grim, and I don't know who the Widow is.
Seat 3 asks to approach you.
Yeah, let's go talk.
They go, hi, friend. I'm the artist. Do you have any advice for my artist question?
Ooh, an artist question. Interesting. Well, of course, there's old classics like eliminating segments of the Grim. You could ask about the minions that are in play. Finding the outsiders is always helpful. There's a lot of possibilities. You could just clear one player that you really, really want to trust.
All right, they go. That's good. What are you, by the way?
Me? I'm the Savant.
Okay. All right, you leave that conversation, and then Seat 2 requests to talk to you.
Hello, Seat 2. So that was Seat 3, right?
Yep, Seat 2 goes, all right, here's your Grim. Seat 1 is the Savant. Seat 3 is the Mutant. Seat 4 is the Cannibal. Seat 5 is the Amnesiac.
Seat 4 is the Cannibal. And seat 5 is the amnesiac. All right. I just claimed savant to the mutant because they claimed artist to me. I could potentially back that into an artist claim, but with a cannibal on the grim, that's not great.
Yeah, they said, interesting. Well, the autoplay rules are, of course, balloonist, fisherman, and artist, so you pick the one you want, and I'll take one of the other ones.
If I take artist, they are going to kill me, so that's not great. Probably shouldn't have bluffed savant. The mutant might die and come out as the mutant. I'm gonna take savant. Can you take balloonist?
They go, yeah, sure. I was leaning more towards fisherman, but...
So here's the thing. We can sell that I'm the lunatic, potentially, if you claim balloonist. And since there's no lunatic in play, that would make you look more likely to be the demon and me more likely to be the minion, which is ideal for us. We really don't want... Oops, I put you as the balloonist, not the widow. Which is ideal. Who's poisoned?
They go, seat 4, the cannibal.
Cannibal's poisoned. Okay, well that's something.
They go, yeah, we'll see. I have claimed fisherman to a few people, so I may just stick with that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to claim fisherman, I can never claim lunatic, so just kind of make it really obvious in town.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. You have time for one more conversation on day 1.
I'll talk to the player in seat 1.
Okay. They ask you how your days is.
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Had a weird conversation, but I'm doing okay.
They go, great. Well, I have some savant information on the savant after all. And I figured I'd just share it because the Wit doesn't play. Everyone should probably just share things, right?
Yeah, I had a player claim my role to my face, so I'm a little nervous, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay, they go, there is either one pair of townsfolk or the widow knower is poisoned.
Okay, one pair of townsfolk is the true statement. Yeah, I'll just put one pair of townsfolk is the true statement. Okay. And then the person who knows the widow. How do I do this in the Grim in a way that makes sense to everybody? One pair TF or widow being poisoned.
Yep, they say. Seems decent.
Seems good. Yeah, okay, that's good information.
Yeah, you get back to town. The artist, the mutant claiming artist in seat 3 says that they asked if the demon was in an even seat. And got a yes. And the player in seat 5 publicly claims to be the amnesiac who picked seat 1, got a 0, and asked the storyteller about their alignment and got a lukewarm.
Interesting. Okay. They picked the player in seat... Okay, interesting. Okay, good shout. So they picked the player in seat 1 and got a 0.
Mm-hmm. And then no one nominates and everyone goes to sleep.
I might have socially nominated seat 3 there.
Oh, yeah, if you want to, you can.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably socially nominate seat 3 here and say that I had a sketchy conversation with them. We probably shouldn't kill this today, but I'm not sure how I feel about the conversation that we had. That's
okay.
all. Yeah, so nighttime and then daytime because I don't do anything at night.
Yeah, so nighttime happens, daytime happens.
Yeah. So this is going to be tricky. I'm in a double claim, which looks minion-y, looks evil, probably can get me killed here, but let's see what I can do.
Okay, day 2's not a super interesting thing today for anyone. Are you going to use your artist question, your fake artist question?
I think I'm going to hold it one more day. Artist questions don't necessarily have to be... artist questions don't necessarily have to be saved, But if you can come up with a good question, the later you ask it, the better your information might be, just based on process elimination or based on there being more information on the Grim. So if you can ask a meta information question, that can be pretty useful.
Okay.
I might use my artist question to ask: is the Savant poisoned?
Yeah.
Is the Savant Widow poisoned?
Widow pings you again and says, "Hey, I'm just working on my fake fisherman advice. Do you have any ideas on what I should say?"
I'm going to go artist, and I'm going to say that the Savant is poisoned. That's going to be my artist information. Seat 3 is the mutant. If you can find a way to sell Seat 3 as evil in some way, that would be helpful.
They go, Alright, so maybe some fisherman advice that suggests there's no mutant in play.
I think that might be pretty helpful, although then we need a lunatic, so be aware of that.
Yeah, they say it might be tricky. Alright, I'll keep working on it. I'll come back and talk to you tomorrow. I think I'll ask for the advice tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Not much else happens. The Amnesiac announces they picked Seat 4 and got a 2, and asked about whether executing those players will win the game, and got cold.
Alright. I know what the Amnesiac's ability is. Do you folks at home? If you know what the Amnesiac's ability is, I guess say it now. I don't know how to...
What do you think the Amnesiac ability is?
Select a player, learn how many of their neighbors are good.
You gonna suggest the Amnesiac gets that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No way in hell.
The Savant says, I got the advice either only one once per game ability is in play, or an outsider is sat next to the demon.
Oh, I like that. Only one OPG or outsider next to demon.
Right, then do you want to nominate today?
Wait. Both of those are false. One once per game is in play, or the outsider is seated next to the demon. Those are both false pieces of information.
What do you think, man?
I think I'm the lunatic.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm the lunatic! Oh, this is super fun! Oh, we did 2 in 1! Oh, I'm so happy!
I don't know what you're talking about, Milk. Those are both legitimate pieces of information.
Yeah. Look, only one once per game ability is in play, but there is no once per game ability in play per the Widow's Grim that they've given me. Or an outsider is next to the demon. Well, the outsider being the mutant potentially here that I was told is the mutant is not the mutant. They don't exist. And that means that the outsider is next to a demon. I'm an outsider. That means the Amnesiac is the demon. There's no widow. There's a goblin. Ooh, spicy. Ooh, this is fun.
All right, do you want to nominate today, Milk?
Oh, my. Oh, let me think my way through this Grim. Ooh, that's exciting. Now, how would someone have been able to tell me all of these roles and get some of them right without there being a widow? The widow is self-poisoned. Nope, they wouldn't have been able... Amnesiac came out right away. Oh, maybe the Savant is... Oh, the widow ping isn't poisoned, but there is one pair of townsfolk. That's true. Outsider is next to the demon. Only one once per game ability. That's covering for this player who has a fisherman advice. I'm not going to nominate... This is day 2, right?
Yeah, it's day 2.
Yeah, I'm not going to nominate on day 2, and I'm not going to let on that I know... I'm not going to let on that I know that I think I'm the lunatic.
Okay, so no one else nominates and everyone goes to sleep. You wake up the next day, and the widow immediately wants to talk to you.
Yeah, what's up?
They say, I told you the Savant was poisoned, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what you told me.
Okay, good.
I think I marked it. I don't think I marked it in my Grim. I think I forgot to mark it in my Grim.
Yeah, well, the Savant's poisoned. That
makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
They said, can you want to help me come up with some fisherman advice? I think some people might want to execute me today to feed to the cannibal.
That seems like a really good idea. We should definitely come up with some fisherman advice that feeds you to the cannibal. Maybe you should make some fisherman advice that points at a different player than the savant being poisoned, so that they think that somebody else is poisoned. They might not kill you if you make them think that the cannibal's poisoned.
Okay. They go, yeah, maybe. Alright, when you get back to town, the amnesiac says they picked you and got a 1.
Picked me and got 1. Oh, I actually need this amnesiac info back on my Grim. I removed it because I thought I had solved it and didn't need it anymore, but now I think I do. Let's get Amni 2, and then they picked me and got a 1, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that still tracks with the ability I think I have, or the ability that I think that is. I think the savant might be the demon.
They asked about character type and got a hot. The savant said either a good player selected an evil player, or a good player selected an outsider last night.
Good player selected an evil. I don't really have room on my Grim for it anymore. Good player selected an evil, or a good player selected an outsider. There's no... Oh, well, that could be true. Yeah, of course that can be true, because the Amni picked me. But how would they know that? That savant info sounds right. Boy, that's really interesting. So yeah, the savant's info... Oh, I'm all wrapped up in circles here. This is great.
Well, town gets together, they execute the widow.
Yeah, we definitely execute the player in seat 2.
Do you vote on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody should vote.
They go, I think this is fine. We can feed me to the cannibal. They'll get cannibal advice. Fisherman advice, I'll share my fisherman advice tomorrow.
Evil players... So, here's what I think. If you're evil and you're worried that you're being strung along as a marionette, which we talked about last time, or if you're worried you're being strung along as a lunatic, evil players changing their information is weird. Evil players should be focused in on what they're doing, and they should generally not be making mistakes with what they did. I don't know. I've played a lot of games of Blood on the Clocktower. I don't think I've ever told my demon the wrong person I poisoned. Which makes it seem really a lot like, player in seat 2 is stringing me along. Now this Amni ability is interesting. An Amni 0 could just be detecting. What can it be detecting? Steps from an evil. Is it the same Amni ability that I gave you, but better? Probably because it doesn't have a drunk component or a poison component. That would be funny. Could be just steps from evil players. I could be one step from an evil player. The savant could just be evil. Yep, there's a lot of possibilities there. I'm not going to solve the Amni ability. Maybe the Amni will. I'm inclined to think I'm the lunatic right now, so I'm not too worried about any of this. We'll just keep going along with it.
The cannibal, at the start of day 4, the cannibal runs off to get their fisherman advice. They come back and they say, my advice is trust my neighbors.
That's interesting. I want to talk to the player in seat 4.
Okay. They go, hey, what's up?
Hey, player in seat 4. I'm going to share some stuff with you. It might seem like a play. You'll have to make a determination about that. But I would appreciate it if you wouldn't come out with it until closer to the end of the game.
Okay.
I believe that I am the lunatic. I am looking at the Leviathan token. I believe that the player we killed last night, or yesterday, is in fact the widow. And that you are widow poisoned. They told me on day 1 that you were widow poisoned. I can't confirm that because they then later told me another player was widow poisoned, but I believe that they are evil. I believe that there's no balloonist in this game, which suggests that your neighbor, the player in seat 3, is also evil. Your poisoned fisherman, quote-unquote, information from the dead widow, suggesting that your neighbors are both trustworthy, suggests that one of them is probably the demon. I don't know what the Amnesiac's ability is doing. The Amnesiac could be evil, um, but one of the two of them is, yeah, one of the two of them is definitely evil based on the savant information, I think.
Okay.
So I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't tell anybody about this right away. I'm happy to be executed. I believe that I'm a good player, and we've killed an evil player, so if this will help clear worlds, I'm happy to die today.
Well, seat 1, the savant, says that their information today is there's an artist in play, or there's a fisherman in play.
Well, there's no fisherman in play, and the player in seat 3, I think, is the mutant. But they can't be the mutants because I'm the lunatic.
Okay.
So maybe they're an artist, and they've been fed, and the player in seat 1 has been fed a different Grim than me from the Widow. In which case, the player in seat 1 might be the demon.
The Amnesiac says they picked seat 2 and got a 1.
Yeah, I don't know how that information is working out.
And they said they asked the question, does it have something to do with the player's neighbors, and got a hot.
Well, the player in seat 1, the Amnesiac picked the player in seat 1 and got a 0. They picked me and the player in seat 2 and got a 1, and they picked you and got a 2. So could be distance to players with the demon token. You would be two seats from me, the lunatic who sees the demon token, and I and the Widow in seat 2 would both be 1 seat away from a player who sees the demon token. In fact, actually, I think I should probably go talk to the player in seat 5.
Anyway, there's a big push to execute seat 3 today based off the savant information. They say it's definitely safe, and at worst we get another cannibal.
I'm not voting on it.
Right, well, seats 4, 5, and 1 all vote, and the artist is executed and dies.
That sounds right. Poor cannibal gonna get an artist. Oh yeah, this is actually an artist.
Yeah,
that's actually an artist. This is a Leviathan.
Day 5. Seat 4 goes and asks their artist question and asks, is seat 5 the demon? And gets told no. Seat 5 says they picked seat 4 and got a 2. And seat 1 says they were told milk is the demon, seat 5 is the demon.
Interesting. I mean, both of those statements make me think that the player in seat 1 is looking at the Leviathan token, that's for sure. I think the Amnesiac ability is good. I think there was a Widow in play, which means the player in seat 5 does actually have the Widow's Call. That makes the player in seat 5 good. I'll just say this all to town. I'm looking at the Leviathan token. I believe I'm the lunatic. I was told by the player... I'll just out everything that we've already talked about. What I was told by the player in seat 2, etc. Seat 5 heard the Widow's Call. There's no way anyone could have gotten this... There's no way anyone could have had all this information without there being a Widow in play. I believe the player in seat 1 is the actual Leviathan who's being covered for by the player in seat 2.
Seat 3 says, I think you're just the demon, Milk. You're doing a play. My question is the demon an even-numbered seat? I trust the cannibal socially. You've been weird all game. And, yeah, I just have you as the demon right now. I'll be voting on you.
All right. I mean, there's nothing I could do to convince you otherwise, other than tell you that I'm pretty sure I'm not the demon. I'm pretty sure I'm the lunatic, and I was strung along for 3 days by a player who I don't trust anymore. Also, I offered yesterday to be executed, which I thought would be fine, instead of you.
What do you make of the artist question, is the demon an even-numbered seat?
I mean, it's the same kind of artist question I tried to use to fake... I had a demon basically fake in the last game, right? Just pick 3 seats and figure out if the demon is in one of those 3 seats. It eliminates half the Grim, and as long as you're not the Widow Poison player, it's fine.
Yeah, but they got a yes on you and the cannibal and the Widow.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty strange. It might mean that I'm the demon here and that the artist is absolutely right. But I'm in this.
But the Widow told you the artist was the mutant.
Here's the thing, Emma. The artist could claim mutant now because they're dead. But more importantly, if I'm the Leviathan, I want to execute anyone that's not me.
Yeah.
If I'm the lunatic, I want to execute the person I believe is most likely to be the demon. I guess it could be the cannibal somehow working together with the... Oh, I guess the player in seat 1 could be the Widow Poison, and the player in seat 4 could be the Demon. Yep, that also works.
Seat 3 says, look, I know it's important. I know we all have to vote together as a town. Seat 4, Seat 5, Milk if he's on our team. How can you convince me, consistent with my... What is going on that got me to have a yes on seats 4 and on Milk and seat 4, if neither of them are the Demon, if you all think seat 1's the Demon? Please explain this to me.
Well, you could be the Widow Poison. Then the cannibal gets false information on... false fisherman information. No, got true fisherman information.
The cannibal did get true fisherman information, apparently. Right?
Yeah, the cannibal got true fisherman information when they ate an evil player. That's not right. Can I get all the Savant info? Sorry, I ran out of space to track it on here.
Yeah. The Savant information from day 1?
Yeah.
The Widow Knower is poisoned, or there's one pair of townsfolk?
The Widow Knower is poisoned, or there's one pair of townsfolk.
Yep,
Okay, hang on. The Widow Knower is not poisoned.
Day 2? 1 once per game ability in play, or the outsider is sat next to a demon.
I am the outsider. I am seated next to a demon, most likely. 1 once per game ability in play?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then that's the artist is in play. Oh, the artist is in play. The Widow showed me a mutant so that I wouldn't realize I was the lunatic. The artist is actually real and is in play. That means a false statement is, oh, so the cannibal is the demon. Oh, okay.
Day 3.
The widow told me that the cannibal was poisoned to cover for potentially the cannibal not getting correct information, but actually poisoned the savant in seat 1.
Well, the savant seems to be getting all good information in that world.
Maybe poisoned the amnesiac. Oh, in which case the Widow Knower is... Oh god, I'm doing the savant thing. In which case the Widow Knower is poisoned, so the other statement was...
1 pair of townsfolk.
Yeah, I don't think there's a pair of townsfolk.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the outsider, the Widow... Oh yeah, that works. Yep, the cannibal's the Leviathan.
And the amnesiac comes back and says, I got a bingo. I pick a player and learn how many townsfolk neighbors they have. I believe Milk when he says seat 2 is the Widow. I picked seat 1 and got a 0, because they have no townsfolk neighbors. They're sat next to the Widow and the lunatic. I picked seat 4 and got a 2, because me and the artist are sat next to the cannibal. I picked you and got a 1, because I'm sat next to you, and the Leviathan's in seat 1. And I picked seat 2 and got a 1 because they're sat next to the artist, and last night I picked seat 3 and got a 1 because I think they're sat next to the cannibal.
No, you're poisoned.
You think the music's poisoned?
I mean, it's really hard to solve this. Like, there's a pile of... Listen, there's a pile of information. If anybody who's listening to this thinks they really, really know between seat 1 and seat 4 which of the two of them is the demon, well done. I know it's not me. I've solved that much of this game. I'm definitely not the demon, and I think between me and the amnesiac, we've convinced the town not to kill me. I think the savant information works in the world where seat 5 is the poisoned amnesiac who knows the Widow's call. I think the artist's information isn't poisoned, which means it has to be seat 4. I think I'm probably voting on seat 4.
The savant information from today, of course, was that Milk or seat 5 is the demon.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not right. I mean, just none
Right,
of this
Milk.
is... I mean, it's either seat 1 or seat 4. I don't know why a demon... Okay, I think it's seat 4. I guess that the player in seat 1 is poisoned and their savant information's all garbage. But I don't know why a demon who has a lunatic would give the piece of information, because the lunatic could potentially solve it, would give the piece of information that the outsider neighbors the demon. That seems pretty insane to me. Maybe they did it. It's a great play to do if you can pull it off. I think it's the player in seat 4. I think I'm the lunatic and it's the player in seat 4. If I'm the Leviathan, I win anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
All right. Well, who are you nominating?
I'll nominate seat 4. I'll go off the artist info. If the artist was poisoned, then so be it.
You nominate seat 4. Seat 5 doesn't vote. Do you vote?
Yeah, I'll vote on this. I have no other way. I mean, right. I have no other
You
way.
vote. Seat 1 votes. Seat 2 votes.
Yeah, oh well, got it wrong.
Seat 3 goes, Milk convinced me I'm sober. I'll vote too.
Yeah.
You execute seat 4. Game is over. The evil team won.
Yeah. I mean, I knew it was 1 or 4, but I mean, other people needed to solve this. I was the lunatic. I solved that I was the lunatic. This is somebody else's responsibility to figure out.
Seat 4 was your cannibal, of course, who got sober information when they ate the widow because the storyteller knew that Milk knew he was the lunatic and was trying to throw him off the scent. Seat 3 was your widow-poisoned artist, who asked whether seat 2, seat 4, or seat 6 was the demon, and got a yes, because Milk had the lunatic token. Seat 5 is your amnesiac, who bingoed their ability of pick a player, learn how many townsfolk neighbors they have. Seat 1 was your Leviathan, bluffing savant.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
You solved the main puzzle, which was... And, seat 3 voting there is very silly with the widow voting.
I mean, the seat 3 should never vote there. I probably should have seen that I was very suspicious of the information of the player in seat 1. I just couldn't put it together, and it's not entirely my responsibility here, because the part of this that was my responsibility was to let town know that there was a widow in play, and that I was the lunatic and not the demon, which I did.
Yeah.
Other people have to solve their information. I can't be responsible for what other people do.
Exactly.
But it points out how one player voting in a game of Teensyville script can completely ruin the day of the good team.
Yeah, no, technically, the artist probably in real life with an experienced player leaves their hand down there. It's 3, you see that the evil team voted on that, you vote for the lift on seat 1.
But it's not fair to give me another try just because I didn't win the game,
Yeah, no, but for the purposes of this, your decision that you thought seat 4 was the demon was the end of the game.
I mean, so the artist is widow poisoned?
Artist is widow poisoned. Amnesiac information is sober. The cannibal was just given sober information off the widow because they can be.
It was really hard. I mean, it was really hard to figure out who had been poisoned by the widow. There was the player that the widow told me was poisoned, which didn't make sense of them trying to feed themselves to the cannibal, so I didn't think it was seat 4. The savant information works. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yep, it happens sometimes.
Yep, sometimes you get it wrong.
You solved the main thing, the main twist of this game, which was that you were the lunatic.
Yeah, I should have worked off of that information. I should have worked off the information that the outsider was seated next to the demon, and just not thought. I should have not thought that the player in seat 1 wouldn't be gutsy enough to give that. That was, I mean, it's entirely social.
Seat 2 was too busy trying to get you to give them fake fisherman advice to give.
Yeah,
to coordinate with seat 1 on the savant information.
I mean, the funny thing is, I got out social played by the player that doesn't exist in seat 1. So whatever.
It happens sometimes.
C- mechanical player, B+ social player. Everybody lost to a non-existent demon.
All right. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that.
That was fun.
The viewers, of course, knew you were the lunatic the entire time because
Did they?
after you left the room, I said, "By the way, Milk's the lunatic. He doesn't know, but you do."
Well, there you go. So they get something fun to enjoy there. They get to watch.
So hopefully they enjoyed you solving that you were the lunatic.
I hope Kim, if we could get in the bumper for the second part, Milk as Leviathan ? Like you did with the marionettes last week, that would be great.
I thought it would be a fun way. We had talked several episodes ago when we did BMR that
how
if
would
we
covered
lunatic, we would do it as an evil character.
Surprise!
I was looking at my grip today. I was like, let's just make Milk the lunatic, see what happens.
Sorry, whoever asked for Leviathan, you didn't get it.
Well, you did, because we talked about Leviathan strategy.
You get 2 for 1. You get 2 for the price of 1.
Because we talked about Leviathan strategy, we talked about the free balloonist bluff. It probably should have been a sign that the widow was really reluctant to take the balloonist bluff, even though it's the correct bluff in this situation.
Yeah. The balloonist bluff, giving the balloonist bluff to the widow is what you should do in that situation. Make yourself look like the lunatic. I mean, it's absolutely a play, but it's much better than claiming balloonist.
Yeah, and the Widow really didn't want to do that for some reason. That's because they didn't want you looking like a lunatic. They wanted you looking like a demon.
I thought they were suspicious because they were leading me on once I figured out I was the lunatic.
Yeah.
So that was a nice moment for me. Figured out I was the lunatic. That made me happy.
Yeah,
I got my bit of it.
You did.
Deal with it, townsfolk.
You heard the Seat-Lon Savant information. We were about to go to sleep, and you were like, "Wait a minute, that doesn't work.
Wait a moment.
That grin is wrong.
Something's wrong here."
See, 200 it too, and of course, with their desperate cover of trying to switch the Widow poison and hoping you'd forget.
Yeah. Oh well, stuff happens. Well, everybody, that's been our episode. I hope you enjoyed this one. We did go, we went a little short the last couple times. We went a little long this time, but it's been a fun one. We had a lot to talk about.
Back to our normal 60, 70-minute pace. Hopefully we'll stay there.
We're in that range.
Well, we had like 10 minutes we had to...
Oh, we had to cut the bit with your fire alarm going off.
Yeah, which is fine. Don't worry about that.
All right, everybody.
All right.
Well, we hope that your scenarios this week are... No, wait. Aren't? Wait, what do we say?
No, we hope that your scenarios this week are grim, because...
Are grim.
Yeah,
because
it sounds like a bad thing, but then at least it's the podcast name.
We hope your scenarios are grim, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, or at conventions, or whenever. Stop by. Send us a DM.
I'm the lunatic.